recovery and community mental health care. In this presentation, first, I speak about care as a treatment in community. Then, care as recovery support in community. Third, recovery integration. And lastly, World Federation of Mental Health Mission. First, care as a treatment in community. This is an excerpt from a material developed by WHO and Wonka in 2008, and from point 1 to point 7, you can understand that we should utilize primary care as the best means to provide treatment in community. However, now, 16 years after the development of this document, we can think, what can or should be added to care as psychiatric and medical treatment? This pertains to purpose of care, and then we can realize the purpose of care should be recovery of the person. To think of care as recovery support in community, we can refer to WHO's Quality Rights 2019 document titled Person-Centered Recovery Planning for Mental Health and Well-Being Self-Help Tool. The content of this document is: what is recovery? Part 1. Plan for pursuing dreams and goals. 2. My wellness plan. 3. Plan for managing difficult times. 4. Plan for responding to a crisis. 5. Plan for after a crisis. What is recovery? Recovery is not about being cured or being normal again. It is about gaining control of their identity and life, having hope for their life and living in a life that has meaning for them. Recovery is happening when people can live well in the presence or absence of their mental illness and the many losses that may come in its wake, such as isolation, poverty, unemployment, and discrimination. Plan for pursuing dreams and goals. A very important part of your recovery plan is to brainstorm how you will use your assets and strength and the possibilities open to you to make positive changes in your life. At this stage of developing your recovery plan, you can identify the dream and goals you want to achieve. My wellness plan. Having a regular routine and things to do can be helpful in maintaining wellness. This can balance your life and give you a structure to build on. Think about the day-to-day things you need to do to remain well. These may be things that you are already doing or things that you want to do because they would make you feel better. Plan for managing difficult times. Recording your daily routine and physical condition allows you to recognize and respond to signs of ill health more quickly. Early detection, early response allows you to control smaller fluctuations in your condition. When you detect fluctuations, changes of your conditions, you can seek support from various resources. This is a very simple chart to record one's conditions. This simple format is by myself. The format can be different, but the point is that the person keep records of one's activity and state so that they can visualize the moves, fluctuation, changes of their condition. Part 4. Plan for responding to a crisis. You have already listed the factors which indicate that things are not going so well and the crisis is looming in part 3. It might be helpful to look back at this and ask yourself, what am I like when I am experiencing a crisis? It can often be helpful to ask your supporters, family, peers, your friends, patients, mental health or other practitioners or friends what they notice about you when you are experiencing a crisis. Part 5. Plan after a crisis. Continuing your journey after a crisis can be hard. It is always difficult to restart things that you have not done for a while. It can take some time for these challenges to disappear completely. It is sensible to start thinking about your plan for continuing your journey after the crisis as soon as you are able to. As soon as you are able to. You do not have to be feeling fully well to start taking back responsibility for doing some of the things that you enjoy and that are important to you. Now, recovery needs to be integrated. As I have read, care as treatment in a narrow sense pertains to only Part 3, Plan for managing difficult times, and Part 4, Plan for responding to a crisis. However, support basis for recovery is wider. Part 1, Plan for pursuing dreams and goals. Part 2, My wellness plan. Part 5. Plan for after a crisis. These parts are necessary, or in a way more essential, so that the person can utilize treatment more voluntarily and effectively. And supports to be integrated for support. First, slightly expensive, yes. Financial support, some financial support seems to be necessary. For example, it could be pension, and lodging is necessary. Or it could be a not so expensive group form. Opportunities to support dreams and ambitions. For example, skill training services. And persons can and should support mutually, not expensive. You can provide peer support as group opportunities. Easier access to care as treatment. In addition to ordinary primary care, not so expensive, you could think of home visit. And visit person does not have to be necessarily physician. It could be nurse or social worker, someone who can go to their home. And someone has to integrate the service functions, and it could be psychiatrist or physician, primary care physician, but it could be caseworkers too. So, what is the mission for the World Federation of Mental Health? WFMH should collaborate with WHO and other related agencies. And in 2008, we already had a good guideline as developed by WHO and WONCA. But we could expand and refine the guidance in a doable manner, and WFMH can disseminate such information to member society, especially the information, important information on not expensive and efficient examples or models. To sustain these efforts, WFMH may consider creating a section for community support for recovery. My comments: the persons with mental illness, they do not live to receive treatment, but to attain recovery, their life goal. Treatment occupies, as I described, only a limited part of recovery support, or treatment is not the purpose. Treatment is a tool so that the persons can attain recovery and pursue their life goals. As I explained, recovery support is not necessarily very expensive, but the supports range over a few different spheres, and the service supports in these different spheres need to be integrated. We have wholehearted sympathy and empathy with the difficulties in Ukraine. But even now, or hopefully later, we hope that Ukraine have an opportunity to consider developing the community care as recovery support. Thank you very much for your attentive listening.